This is a Caterpillar IT28 rubber tire loader. It's made by Conrad and it's in 1/50th scale. Now this is an older model, but it's very interesting for being as old as it is. Basically what Conrad did was they took the back half of a 938 and come up with a new front half to make it match the IT style of loaders. Now IT stands for Integrated Tool Carrier, and the idea was that, you know, on the loader linkage here you have a true parallel lift system. You can kind of see it there where the bucket or tool or forks, you know, whatever you come up with, it'll stay basically parallel to the ground no matter what height you raise the bucket. And the neat thing about the model is it makes it real easy to see that the system does work. When you have the Z-bar, you kind of get the same thing, but it only works, you only get like a true parallel for maybe half of your loader range, and then the once you get to the upper half, you lose that. But the IT loader arms won't do that. They'll maintain that parallel the whole way up. And another feature of the IT system is they'll have remote lines, like either one or two or three remote lines that go out to the coupler. And it's also a hydraulic quick coupler, so you can change out, like here's a lifting boom and you have a set of forks. But you can also, you know, naturally have a bucket also. But you can also have like a root rake or a broom or a snowblower, whatever you can think of, and it'll just mount right up, and you can run the hydraulics right into it. And that's kind of the selling point. You see a lot of IT loaders on pipe jobs and road work, just because it's so it's such a good machine for that type of work, being able to change out your implements so quickly, and having the parallel lift system also helps, but it's not really necessary. But it is nice to have on occasion. Now, again, what's interesting about this is because it's old, you'll notice it doesn't have a bucket. And I'm not sure the reason for that. I guess because, like I said, this is basically a 936. You get a 936 and you have the bucket with it. So when you get to IT28, you don't really need to have the bucket, because then you'd basically have two 936s. So anyway, the coupler here works, and it's got the same basic system where you have the loops on, like the hooks on the top of the implement. And then you have a round section here. I don't know what you call that. Like round ears. And the pin coupler system on the loader itself, like you just have a rounded bar on the top, and then the pins come out at the bottom. They'll expand out to lock your implement in, and then they'll come back in to release it. Now what you have here, you see this red plastic pin that just pops right out, and then your implement comes off just like on the real machine. And that's a pretty good representation of what that coupler looks like. I mean, that's pretty much it right there. Anyway, the forks pop right on. You can see those ears will line up right in there, and that coupler, you put the pin back in, and there you go. Now you got a set of forks. Overall, it's by today's standards, it's not that great. The forks are a little goofy. The lifting beam is a little goofy. It doesn't telescope out at all like they do on the Norscot ones, but it's still pretty good for the age. It's a typical Conrad model. This one is very dusty. This one sat on the shelf for years and years and years, but it's still in pretty good shape. It's got your typical Conrad cylinders where they're fairly stiff, but they'll hold any pose you want it to have. Now the rollback angle, you don't have any angle there to roll back. The lifting angle is not that great, and it'll dump out some, but you can see just how much cylinder you have here and how much actual travel you have coming out is not much. I mean, that cylinder might as well be a 1/4 inch long. I mean, you got an awful lot there, but you'd never use it. That's, you know, it'd be below the machine. But anyway, I don't know. It's not a bad loader. At the time, these were a big deal because of the like I said, the parallel loader design. That made it pretty neat, and then having the coupler system that worked was also very cool. This was a pretty hot item for a good while there, and it is interesting. It is neat, and it's something a little different. And these days, it's not that great, but like I said, at the time, it was pretty good. Overall, it's not bad, but it's hard to put a value on something like this, because maybe 5 or 6 years ago, it probably would be a $100 model. Today, I think you're probably in that $40 range is a little bit more accurate. The values of the older NZG and Conrad models have fluctuated so much over the past 10 years, and it's really been a steep decline. And the value is such a subjective way to look at it, because something's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it, essentially. And that's probably a good indicator for this, because there's other models that are better than this, and it had a time and place, but these days it's just not it. So anyway, that's about all I have for this. It's definitely not a bad model. If you have the older Cat equipment, it'll definitely fit right in, and it'll definitely be nice and unique. It would be nice if it had a bucket. I'd prefer if it had a bucket, but it doesn't. And it's just the way it is. Anyway, that's all I got. Kind of rambled on there a little bit, but you'll have that from time to time. If you'd like to see more of what we have, please subscribe to Maryland Construction Diecast. As always, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask.